Okay, we're in the phase at the moment which is called shadow partnership arrangements, where we've moved from a number of draft arrangements which we've been consulting on for the best part of a year, and come April we want to move to the new structures, and although it won't ever be set in concrete or stone or anything, but we do want them to be recognisable and understandable, and where everybody can engage with them. But we're in this programme where we think we got the best thing. The board in December says, right, let's go with them as if they're the best thing, and we'll trial it, see how it works. Some things haven't changed very much. For example, the strategy board, the thing that's in the little box at the top, the membership of that continues to be currently 14 institutions, if you like, or organisations that include the council and the university and the police and the Tyne and Wear Rescue Service, and include the community network. So we treat the voluntary and community network as an institution or an organisation, and everybody has the other organisation, but you are different in kind, and so the things that apply to other organisations don't always apply to you, but your status is of an equal partner, although different in kind. And so, whereas the chief exec of the council, for example, will sit on the board as the Gen 2 or the area commander from the police or the Tyne and Wear Fire and Rescue Service will be at that strategic level that looks at the strategies of the city and looks at that 2025 vision that we've got to improve the lot of and the well-being of everybody within the city of Sunderland as our sort of overarching vision and ambition. Those sorts of strategic decisions and discussions take place at that board. Previously, quite a lot of some of the detailed stuff has been at that board, and that's now, hopefully, when the shadow arrangements kick in properly, will be delegated to something that we call the Delivery and Improvement Board, and that's the hub and the heart of delivering effective change, and something called the Local Area Agreement, which 33 of the 189 national indicators are being sort of monitored there, and they're going to make sure that everything's measurable, that people are accountable, that we're making the right sort of progress. And then if there's progress that's not being made, then they'll be flagging that up by exemption in both ways, to the board and to the particular thematic group where there's something that's not going particularly right. Previously, our thematic partnerships were 8 in number, and they've now been reduced to 5. Prosperous City, Learning City, Healthy City, Safe City, Attractive and Inclusive City. So that hope between them, that basket of 33 indicators are divided between those groups who are the accountable body to make sure that somebody somewhere delivers on a particular target. So, for example, we need to increase the number of people on smoking cessation programs incrementally year on year, and they will decide, and the Delivery and Improvement Board say, well, who's looking after that? Healthy City probably ought to be looking after that, but others will be influencing that. And there are other targets like teenage pregnancy. I've chosen those 2 because they're the ones that we're delivering really poorly on at the moment, and we're not approaching the targets that we had set ourselves. And so those are 2 things that we're looking at quite urgently to see what interventions we might be putting in place and how others can help us in that area. Moving on further to the right are things that are called area arrangements, and currently there's a range of consultations, and what we used to have 6 regeneration areas. They're being reformatted to make sure all the regenerations are of a similar size, and there are to be 5 areas, and they're going to be focusing on the particular issues around their sort of wider neighbourhood. So, for example, in Washington, it may well be that when we devolve down the particular things that we're not doing too well, that, for example, smoking cessation in Washington is 10 times worse than it is in Northumberland or some other area. So we probably need to concentrate some resources there. We need to get more local activities going there. We perhaps need to involve the schools more and so on. And that local area will have those targets that are priorities for Washington, and they will work together to implement those things. There will be a particular sort of executive board, name not known yet, and alongside each of these areas will be area forums. And I know a number of you already are engaged in area forums. The South Area Forum and the Coalfields Area Forum are particularly well developed, and there's some excellent practice there. And those need to be equally excellent across all the 5 areas. And that will be a real grassroots organisation, being able to be represented and being able to have their views expressed and to have share a vision for their areas within those forums. And then somehow or other, again yet to be decided, representation from those forums will be on that smaller executive group that will be meeting with the Teaching Primary Care Trust or the City Hospitals or the Gen 2 Housing Group or whoever's on that particular delivery board. And it's envisioned that in the future there will be some delegated budgets to these area groups so that they can intervene directly with some particular allocation of monies to overcome some particular problems that are within their area. When we move towards the left-hand side, we then get what we call the cross-cutting partnerships, things that are able to influence things, but do so in a way that isn't necessarily narrow and focused on as a particular target might be, but something that by engaging with these cross-cutting partnerships, there'll be a much better delivery of the targets in particular, but of the well-being of individuals. So Digital Challenge, for example, has been one particular programme, but it's much more about that project. It's more about looking at digital inclusion for everybody and how people might have more opportunities by being digitally connected, looking at the issues around electronic village halls, looking at the issues of being able to care for people and enable people to stay in their homes longer, because Age Concern are excellent at rolling out quite a number of those projects and being engaged in those. And that's one of the things that touches many of the thematic groups as well as many areas, and is therefore a cross-cutting one. Marketing is another example of that. The marketing and the image of the city is something that ultimately benefits everyone. We need to project the city not just for people within it, but also people outside it, so that people would want to visit here, would want to locate their businesses here, that it's an attractive place to come and study at university here, and so on. And so there's a group, again, a cross-cutting group that everybody's got an interest in, that will improve, hopefully, the well-being of the city in that particular way. And then underneath that, there's a whole set of sort of management or executive functions which go on, some of it around sustainability or the compact compliance. Once we get the compact up and running, we'll need to have a group that monitor that to make sure that people are behaving in the ways that they've agreed to behave in the compact, and so on. And the communication strategy and the website stuff and all that stuff falls underneath that. So that's an overall sort of quick run round, and I'll say a little bit more about those particular groups and who makes them up. But I just want to stop at this point, because I'm aware that if you've misunderstood something right at the beginning and I've just carried on, then the fog has got denser and the ditch got deeper or something. So
Jonathan Adams from Ford Pallion and Millfield Community Development Project. I didn't take in anything about significant partnership in the top left, and I wondered what the significant partnership signifies.
The Children's Trust and the Adult Services Board exist as quasi-legal entities which used to be detached from our partnerships and carried on in their own particular way. We're now developing structures which will involve some constitutional change, particularly for the Adult Services Board, in order for it to become a partnership group. And so, for example, currently the Adult Services Board is made up of, the Constitution says that it must have Councillor X and Councillor Y, who are portfolio members, and another 2 council members, for example, and then